Hi, my name's Jeremy Peters, and I want to give a TED.com type video on what I think about education and how we can improve it. So before we can really understand the subject well, we have to talk about how it was created and how it came about. The first thing is that this public system of K through 12 was created in the 1800s and really came full about in the early 1900s as a system of making sure that all children, whether poor or rich, were getting a standard education in reading, writing, literacy, and arithmetic. And from there it grew into a whole K through 12 system that included many other subjects and was standardized to make sure that all the needs that people considered important were being met. There's been really little innovation that has come since then. It's really essentially that same system since then. There's a few changes that have come about. In the 1900s, many parents did not agree with the education that they were getting and felt like they didn't have a choice in it, so they started homeschooling their kids. And that met a lot of opposition from the government. In fact, the government really threatened to throw these parents of these children in jail because of that. It was compulsory or required that children, no matter what their situation, went to public school and got that education unless they were going to a private school. Homeschooling was not an option, but around the 1970s, many states made it legal to homeschool, thinking that that was a great direction to go. The next innovation is charter schools, and I would say for the most part charter schools has really done very little to change and make better the education system, mostly because it's held to the same standards that public schools are held to. It's required to follow those same standardizations, which isn't always best for the children or the parents, and it really creates a system that is essentially the same. In a lot of ways, the only difference is maybe they're allowed to introduce religion or some other activities, much like private schools is able to do. One of the most recent innovations is Khan Academy. And Khan Academy is great because it is starting to integrate technology and online education with a public school setting, and finding a very innovative way to do that is one of the few things that I think has really started to innovate our system. But still, I think there's things we have to overcome in order to really truly do that. The next system is the university education system. Really, if we look back at the history of the university education, it was created to educate future scholars and researchers, people who wanted to be a scholar or research. And the teachers were not there to be teachers. They were there to do studies, to do research, to learn more about the world that we have. And somewhere along the line, these people weren't earning enough money for their grants or for the research that they're doing, and they weren't getting enough grants or something, and they decided to make this system applied to the masses. It was never built for that. And so it became the place culturally to go to get educated into just about anything. In fact, today it amazes me that I have friends going to a university to learn construction and construction management. I think there's got to be a better place for that. So let's talk about two problems with this system and why it's not very good, and how these two things affect it and make it not very good. First one is standardization. The problem with standardization is you're making decisions about how good a classroom should be at a level that you're so far away from it. You're at the state level and the federal level to really understand the needs of the kids at your school and in your classroom. and you're making decisions for all those people. I'm not against standardization. I'm against standardization at the top levels. And in some areas, they need to be standardized at the top levels. But for the most part, standardization should come at the school and classroom level. A teacher knows what's better for their students than the government does. Parents know what's best for their children, knows much better than the government or even sometimes the schools. And so it's better to standardize at those levels. And I think children really follow the expectations of their teachers a lot better than a teacher trying to follow the standards of the government and then trying to relay that to the children, especially when I think many teachers don't really believe in it, but their jobs are on the line to teach in the way that it's told to them, as opposed to what their personal experience and their feeling is for the students that they're dealing with, and they know their students a lot better than our government. Another problem with standardization is we create a factory system for producing children. We put them into a system and expect them to all come out the same according to the standard. And children are different. They all have different abilities. They don't all learn the same way. They don't all need to learn the same things. They all have different talents, and we should be teaching according to them. But what we're doing is we're producing this factory to push them through, and they're coming out the other end seemingly pretty much the same, even though they really aren't the same. They go through the college system. Even the college system is standardized. In fact, the university system is, you might think it's a private system, but it's really a public system, because in order to allow their students to qualify for grants and loans, the money that actually goes to the universities, they have to follow standards. And so people get pushed out of the university system. They go to work for a company. Companies have no idea whether this one's a good one or this one. They all got college degrees. What makes them special? What makes them unique? What are their dreams? We don't know. And often the students don't know what's really great about them, because they've been through a system that emphasizes the things that are not unique about them, but emphasizes the things that make them all the same, essentially standardized. The next problem with this is that it prevents innovation and individualization. Students aren't able to individualize their education. Teachers aren't able to make education unique to each child and to each student. And so that really prevents people from really finding out about themselves and what they're good at and what types of things they should pursue. In addition, standardization prevents innovation, because we can't try something new. We need to make sure everything's proven and works, and so innovation goes out the door. Just to give one example of that, is our grading system. Our grading system is horrible. It's not very motivating. It's not very telling about the student. To give an example of that, something that my best friend gave. He's actually a high school teacher in a rural town in Washington State. He's a graduate with a PhD in chemistry from the University of California, Berkeley. So you can tell he's a very smart guy. He went on to teach at the high school because he wants to make a difference. And what he really wants to do is have a grading system that doesn't just give you one grade, but gives you grades in different areas depending on your strength. One of those is he wants to grade students on resiliency, how easily they give up, how easily they stick through a problem even if they never find the answer, and how willing are they to just push through it and try to get through it despite frustration or any sort of challenge. And I'm sure the grading system is just one small area where we could innovate in to make this system better. Another problem with standardization is it creates a standard bias. When you all go through the same system, you are all taught by teachers who think and feel the same way. They tell you how to think. They tell you how to feel. They tell you how to see a certain problem and how the solution comes. And so it biases these students to all feel and think the same way. And so when they go at the problem, they probably have the same issues with solving that problem because they can only see from that one perspective. But if we get rid of standards, we can have teachers that teach in different ways and approach problems in a different way. And those ways can be taught to students differently, and it allows them to come at different problems without that standard bias. To me, I would call that standard bias pride. Pride says you have to do it this way. You can't do it another way. It's really rigorous, no creative thinking, no critical ways of looking at things. You can't tell the teacher they're wrong. You have to accept it the way that they teach it. The next major problem after standardization is public government control. And this goes through K through 12 and university. Like I said earlier, universities are required to follow government standards. So in a way, even private universities are not truly private. They have some public element. And what this does is it really takes away choice from the students to learn how they want to learn what they want to learn, and really choose for themselves. And so this essentially allows the government to say, hey, this is what you should learn, this is what you should be, what you should become, and it really prevents rapid innovation in any field, because everything's told how people should look at things, and people are less willing to take risks to really make things better. The next thing is de-standardize the system. Okay, so we want to go further and talk about how we change these things. So we were just talking about government control. The opposite would be market control. What's great about the market is it controls distribution very, very well. It can make, you might be thinking, well, if we hand over things to the market, then poor children won't be able to get an education. And I bet you're wrong. One, we can make ways where maybe it's a mixed government and market control. But even better, I really think that because of the market, we'll find more innovative ways to make sure that all people can get a sufficient education for themselves. Because it's market driven, people will find ways to do that well. In addition, we'll be able to spur innovation to really improve our education system in a dramatic way. Next, we need to get rid of standardization, especially at the government level, and encourage standardization at the school and classroom level. This allows for better individualization and even allowing people to take part in the concept of unschooling. Unschooling is something we all do, and what that means is any learning we do outside of school, whether it be reading a magazine or watching a video, that's still education and very important. And so it encourages that. It encourages people to continue to educate themselves without having a system that always rewards them for every little piece that they make in it. In addition, it allows for the unique production of educated people, meaning that we are able to go out and figure out what we love and how we should learn about it and what we should learn about it. And maybe some of the problems with this may be that companies will have a harder time figuring out who they should hire and who they shouldn't. But I think that's something, as we do this more, we'll get more innovative about how we share our strengths. We'll have a better idea when we go to an interview. We'll have a better idea of what we really are good at and what we aren't good at. What things we need to improve in, what areas we need to learn more about, and how we can improve ourselves. Because education really is about progression. And progression happens whether you're in a classroom or not. So we can really create unique challenges, unique experiences, and unique people. And unique people allows for innovation in a better way, allows for innovation in a way that we can go out there and innovate in a lot of different areas, because we have unique people uniquely skilled for innovation in those areas. In addition, people really know what they love, how they want to change the world, and they're able to go out there and do it. Now, I'm doing this from the perspective that I love learning. I love learning about new things, and I've never let school, as Mark Twain would say it, get in the way of my education. If I want to learn something, I go out and learn it. And what I love is education. I want to innovate in educational ways, and I want to re-emphasize how we do it. We do it through making the school system a market-driven thing, and getting rid of standardization and encouraging people to standardize at the micro levels, individual, classroom, and school. Thank you. I hope this was helpful, and if you want to talk to me about it, go ahead and comment below, and be sure to share this with everybody that you can, if you feel the same way as I do, and hopefully we can do the things that allow this to come about. That's really my goal, because I have a lot of great ideas about how we can make education better, but we won't be able to do that as long as government controls the education system and standardizes it to the core, prevents us from really making the changes that we want to make. Thank you.